let's look at the table of organization for an architectural practice. If you're a single owner, you'll wear many hats, as we said before, and try to fill in for many of the positions on the chart. But as you grow, it's going to become much more difficult to perform everything without help, either through better staff or additional partners. Someone will need to take responsibility either for operations or design, but leadership definitely needs to take responsibility to oversee the entire company and its progress. The chart begins to answer questions that you actually need to answer. Based on each staff member's strengths, where do they fit best within your organization to maximize their potential and deliver high quality service? What areas of your organization need support? Who are the most trusted advisors? How can you maintain profitability while providing highest level client service? Okay, so let's talk about this table of organization, a little bit more detail. As you can see at the top of the chart, there's ownership. Our company had a board of directors, and obviously we had shareholders. Your company may not be structured like that, but however your company's structure is, that would be at the top of the food chain. The next connection there would be if you had principals, or the ownership itself would be principals in charge of a project. And the principals, we had multiple principals. So if you're at a firm that has multiple principals, or you put people in charge that are high-level employees, and you may not call them principals, but you give them the complete responsibility of a principal, except for signing and doing anything on a legal basis, then they could certainly go in this position or in this box as well. We had a separate operations group. When we got a little bit over 25, 30 people, it became a little difficult for the partners individually to handle all the schedules and understand all the different projects that were coming in and out, since we were doing 20 or 30 projects at a time. So we created a director of operations. Now, your firm, you may be looking at ownership as being responsible for operations, and you're going to be looking at the day-to-day. That's fine as well, but you need to have an understanding that there is necessary to have someone particularly watching the scheduling component of the company, and also all the employees, their performance. You're going to be discussing bonuses and raises and hiring and firing, and there's a lot of components that go along with obviously go along with the operations group. The operations group is directly responsible to principals and ownership, and they watch project managers and also an employee structure. Project managers in our company was another additional layer. You could call them project architects. In your particular case, in your company, if you have one architect that's also responsible for doing all of the management, then that's fine. If you have project managers that are considered management group, and you have project architects, design staff, as you see here, coordinators, drafting, interior designers, and so forth underneath project architect or project management, that's fine. You can interchange these titles as it sees fit in your company. The main thing is that the responsibility goes from ownership or principals to the operations group, directly to leadership of a project, whether that's project manager or project architect, however you call them. But you also notice that the operations group also has a responsibility for human resources, marketing, and business development employees, whether they're in-house or whether they are consultants. Quality control was certainly something big in our company. We did not let a drawing go out without having it checked by multiple players, as well as design reviews before it went to the owner. So the center bar, if you will, is really has to deal with ownership and has to deal with the operations group of the company. And you'll also see the consultants and their responsibility to different players, especially if you have engineering consultants. They will have some responsibility for coordination, obviously, to each one of the staff members that are in house. There is a bar that's all the way to the left, which you can see accounting, legal, insurance, and financial banking. I like to call them our advisory group. They're our trusted advisors. Each one of those players play key roles in the function of our firm. Uh, Accounting kept us clear on our tax liabilities, our profit and loss statements, and what we were presenting to the bank and how we move forward. We got to such a size to where we had a small accounting group in office, which you may or may not have. You may even have clerical people who have that capability to do employee payroll, to do billings, to do job costing, and so forth. You may be looking at that as temporarily as a consulting firm to where they're doing bookkeeping for you. That's fine. But the main thing is that aside from professional CPAs, that falls under the operations group. CPAs are responsible to not only operations but to ownership. Legal, obviously, ownership, responsibility, but they also have responsibility to operations because operations will do fee proposals and legal documents as well that need to be reviewed and approved by ownership. Um, our insurance companies were critical to us. As you know, general liability, owners, errors and omissions insurance is something that is pretty critical to a firm. The biggest component really was the financial side of it, financial banking. We needed loans, we needed line of credit, we needed to purchase equipment, which we always need to do to improve ourselves. And we had several banks accounts that would handle money that was coming in and money that needed to go out in payroll. And of course, banking institutions are there to watch you every step of the way to make sure that your company is solvent and continuing to move forward. So you can play this chart a little bit to fit your particular needs based on what you have and don't have. This is a general idea of how our company basically was structured. So if you put together a table organization for your particular company and if you have key players' names and their roles in place in this chart. So you know exactly who is doing what, what's fitting where, and how everyone in your company is functioning. And if there are holes, you'll be able to see them as well.